Hello, I'm John Foxy on Tunnel John West. I'm having a Danganronpa trigger happy Havoc adventure, and we're midway through a trial, our third trial. And Celeste thinks we've forgotten something about, well, the picture she photographed, which we're going to take a look at now, I imagine. There we go.
You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice?
No, it's Hifumi carrying Robo-Justice.
If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
That guy hit me. What guy? Robo-Justice. That's what I decided to call him just now. So we know he named him.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
I'm worried that Celeste didn't do it because they're making Celeste. They're doing the same thing as the last trial, where they have one person go, no. Clearly it wasn't that, you know, pushing an agenda, and then it turns out they actually had a completely separate agenda. So maybe Celeste is the inside man, and there's a third killer. That's a lot of people involved. Like, my original idea was that Hiro did it and Celeste is the inside man helping him, but we know that Hifumi did something, and we know that, I'm pretty sure Celeste helped, but a third person? I can't see how a third person could help in this.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
Why do you remember being attacked a little after 7?
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
Is there still an empty seat? Saw a shadow.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that...
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
And this is that scene.
And then...
And this is this scene.
At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups.
Yeah.
Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement.
But that was the wrong announcement. That was the announcement for the other group.
I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising.
Fumi's body's disappeared.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
This can't be happening. Oh yeah, this scene. I'm just gonna not... Yeah.
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository. Which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated.
Yeah, you're telling me. But I've got it figured out. It was Celeste.
It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
The contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them no matter what. So this is going to be me drawing a bullet and shooting you back out. Okay, broken...
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka, I wonder if he died, or perhaps it was after?
We already know
What order they were killed in.
What? Oh, don't do this to me, game. Clearly I...
So,
regarding Taka, I wonder if or perhaps it was. We already know what Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the
Justice Hammers. Shoot!
Alright, fine.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammer.
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. You know what's annoying is that's what I said I was going to do that, and
Hold
then
on.
I didn't.
There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
The wristwatch, there you go. I was just too early with the wristwatch. Okay. W-A... Oh, god damn it. Is it in order, right? I need another W. And then a C. Then an H.
Now I understand! I got it! Taka's wristwatch! See? Look! It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night,
His watch was fine.
so if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's an interesting point. So there's a bunch of people I've not been looking at.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Not exactly. Because he wasn't dead at that point.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could
Okay.
have done those things.
Maybe I'm overthinking this. It's Celeste, and they think it's not obvious, even though she's making all the accusations, because we have two wrong answers in Hiro and Kyoko.
So
not
for
Kyoko.
now, we
Oh, sorry.
can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how.
No, I already know that Hifumi wasn't dead. Oh,
In
fine.
particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing.
He walked.
And according to what Celeste said,
He could not have been gone for more than a minute or so. Yeah.
His body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
Why didn't you let me discover this? I knew the answer already.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is...
I'm gonna go with my original one of my early answers, which was that Celeste is the inside man, Hifumi did some of the murders. But
we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
her world has been twisted upside down.
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive. Is it really possible? Right, so glasses. Oh, damn. Celeste's camera.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
But the body discovery announcement was only made once, that's much I'm sure of.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's
dead body had been found.
And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really?
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No,
It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovered.
Hifumi's dead
Body had been found.
Nope.
Shoot!
Right, find the contradiction, John.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
That's not true.
And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna connect those two.
Are you saying that when we first... there's a chance you...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely
You heard the body
discovery.
Hifumi's
Dead body had been found.
and that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal
Sorry, I
someone
did it too
else's
early. Too late even.
Are you saying that when we first...
There's a chance he was actually still alive?
No. Hifumi was dead,
And you know that
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Damn. I just don't know what I'm doing. Is that my last life?
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
Okay.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No.
Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body that Hifumi's dead,
And that
is why the
Alright,
announcement.
Are we really?
let's think
Maybe
about
the
this.
announcement was intended to signal
Something's
someone
wrong, right?
else's
Let's
discovery.
find the wrong thing.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
Correct. That is correct,
No.
right?
It is in Hifumi was dead.
And you know that. How?
surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest. Hifumi's dead body and
I don't know what the bloodstain has to anything to do with it.
Are we really?
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
no. It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that. How?
Sure.
So I am just...
Hifumi.
No, I'm just guessing at this point.
Shoot!
Failed! Right. Might make myself a cup of tea. Yes!
I refuse to give up yet!
My score's not going to be very good, but... Yeah. Hey, there is an empty one. I don't know what those three have to do with anything. I can't pause right now.
Are you...
Celeste's account. It's got to be Celeste's account that's wrong.
There's a
What's that?
chance he was actually still alive?
No. It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know
Right,
that.
I've got an
Surely
idea.
you heard the body Hifumi's dead
Body had, and that
is why.
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal
Someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
no. It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that. How?
Surely you heard the body discovered. Hifumi's dead body had been found, and that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Can I go round the circle again?
Are you saying that when we first found
Damn it, I
Hifumi
didn't
in the
realize I could
nurse's
do that.
office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No. It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that. How?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's
Dead body had been found.
Right, yeah, sorry,
No,
that was
that's
me.
wrong.
No, that's wrong! Sorry, that was me being dumb and not realising I could go round again. That feels like they
Was
already...
the body
Oh, whatever.
discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
Can we ask?
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again.
And there was a second announcement.
If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
The second body discovery announcement. First time it played when we found each body in the nurse's office and the equipment room, and the second time was when both bodies were rediscovered.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
There we go.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events
damn
surrounding
it,
the
the
discovery
glasses.
of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
That's to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show everyone. Cool, at least I know what it is. There we go, the glasses.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned...
Oh crap. I got there too early.
Shoot!
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse, and then his body
And the next time we saw it was in the...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No,
No,
that's wrong.
that's wrong. In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet.
Cool, I figured that out already though.
And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
I mean, he's still dead, so you don't need to be mean to him.
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
In the fridge.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
The dick.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Hifumi.
I got it!
I got it!
It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
And they're gonna say one? Because obviously someone needed to kill him as well.
That means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
I got it!
I got it!
You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape, yada yada yada.
Ah! That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
No, you just said it wasn't.
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been... I got it!
Hifumi's pants was one of the
That's
options.
right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let it get to me. Yeah, we've got the bit piece. Oh, hang on. This is going to be interesting then.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Alright.
Huffy
You know
had
what?
the note, right?
He said a clue.
Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it say?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Ah, damn it.
Huffy had the note! Then the person it must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it say? 6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that...
No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they'd found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
The corner piece.
I got it!
I got it!
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Almost like we could have done that before.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note...
I put them together.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Celeste.
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Can't do anime face because
Those were
not an
accounted
anime
for in
character.
other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding the case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. It's a clean hammer, obviously. There you go.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
Nope.
Shoot!
What
Was used to... Was it just... maybe Justice...
well, there's one thing. How was the culprit able to... How did nobody
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make it! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris, but for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most
Reason?
likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
I wanted to kill him.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we first thought at first. But, and I'll leave that thought for the next episode, because I've been John Fox and from John on the West. I've been having... Danganronpa. Trigger a happy Havoc adventure. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching.